Hey, so it's a little bit overdue, but I think it's about time that I do a little update video and talk about some stuff that's been going on and, what's happening with the channel and my other channels as well. Now, normally I do stuff like this when I reach 1,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, and whenever I do reach 1,000 subscribers, I like to do a Q&A video, and again, we're not there yet, so if you have any questions, help me get to 7,000 subscribers and we'll do a Q&A video. But when I don't reach 1,000 subscribers, I try to, maybe every 6 months or so, do a little update video and talk about some stuff. This was supposed to come out last month in June, but a lot of stuff happened and I kind of lost track of time, and I was working on Cartoon Clip Show and stuff, and you know how it goes. So, yeah, before we begin, let's get some self-promotion out of the way first. If you're new to this channel, thank you for joining me. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, like the Facebook page. Check me out on Instagram, where I post pictures of my dog and other weird stuff that I find when I'm out at the store. I also have 2 other channels that are in desperate need of some attention. I have a toy channel, Rob's Toy Bin, where I talk about action figures, and I do claw machine videos, and occasionally I talk about comics. I've been meaning to get back into those and try to get through my to-read pile, which just keeps getting bigger, and I really got to halt on getting new comics. And I also have a gameplay channel. I have a Let's Play channel I started a while ago. Not many people are subscribed to it, so if you want to see me play some games, currently I'm playing Mario Maker, and I'm playing a cool indie game called Hollow Knight. Don't know how much longer I have in that, but you can check out the playthroughs on Rob the Casual Gamer. Not, like I said before, not many people are subscribed to that. However, I'm going to give a little bit of an incentive, because if I can get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel, I'll start doing live streams. I've been meaning to get into live streams for a while now, but I figured not that many people would be interested. So if I can get to 1,000 subscribers on the gameplay channel, I'll do live streams of me playing some games and doing some stuff. I have to get that set up and figure out how to do it, because I've not really not a lot of experience doing live streaming of video games and stuff. So I gotta get into that. So yeah, those are all my promotional stuff. Oh, and of course, Patreon. I have a Patreon. If you want to support the channel, support me, and you like what I do, maybe consider becoming a patron. There's some incentives for it, and I'll talk more about the Patreon in a minute. And if Patreon's not your thing, I also have an eBay tip, not an eBay, I have an eBay store, though. That should have been mentioned. I have a PayPal tip jar, which is in the description. Everything I just mentioned should be in the description. I think it's all there. I second guess myself too much. It's there. I'm confident it's there. So now that that's out of the way, I can talk about some other stuff that's been going on. You might have noticed that this year has been a very it's been a very erratic release schedule for stuff. I do post more frequently on some of my other channels, but as far as the main channel, I've not. I used to try to keep up with a weekly video, but things have not been going so well, unfortunately. I haven't really had the opportunity to talk about a lot of stuff that's been going on, but this year's been kind of rough. If you recall, last year, around in June actually, I lost my job. The place I was working at had closed down, and I was kind of without employment for a little while. So I had to kind of beg people to donate to my Patreon. And a lot of people did, and it was very, very helpful. It was not nearly what I needed to, cover my expenses, but it bought me a lot of time. So that was very helpful. People did that. again, I'm going to talk more about Patreon in a little bit. But let me just say that as of January, I've actually found a job. I found a full-time job, too, which is great, but also very stressful because I've actually not had a full-time job in, God, about at least 6 years. I've never been able to find any good full-time work. It's always, like, everybody wants part-time, and it sucks because you don't get paid very much with part-time. But it's really cool. I found a job. It's been a very difficult job because it's a very difficult transition because what you guys don't know, some of you I think know about this, but I actually went to school for graphic design, film, and animation, but I've not been able to find work in doing any of that. I've always been, you know, a very creative person, but the job I took, I won't say what it is, but let's just say it's more leaning toward the sciences rather than the arts, which is great, but I'm not really used to it. It required, first of all, it required certification, which was a very grueling process, and a lot of math was involved, like math that I didn't think I'd ever see again in my life. Put it that way. Again, this is why I went into the arts, because I've never been great at math and things like that. Now I'm solving for X on a daily basis, and it's been very difficult for me because it was a huge transition and it was very stressful. But at this point, I think things have stabilized nicely. But it is very unfortunate that it feels like my degrees have kind of gone to waste because I couldn't find any work because nobody was hiring, and any few jobs I got were not very great. And I was actually thinking of doing a separate vlog about my time, you know, working in various jobs and the reasons I had to leave, because that seems to be a big subject nowadays. I watch a lot of Jim Sterling, and he talked about in several videos the working conditions at places like Rockstar Games, and it sounded awful. And I kind of wanted to add to the discussion and talk about, you know, how I've been treated in many jobs over the years, and you know, maybe, you know, get that out there and, you know, create a little noise about, you know, possibly better working conditions and stuff like that. But I digress. So yeah, I do have a full-time job. It originally started out as part-time, but what happened was early on, like in the first couple of weeks that I've been working there, somebody left, and they pulled me aside and say, "Hey, you're doing a good job. You want to work full-time?" And I'm like, I kind of reluctantly said okay, because like I said, I haven't had a full-time job in a very long time, and it was again, it was very rough because I hadn't worked full-time, and now it's very good because I'm making a good amount of money now. I'm making a decent living. I'm paying my bills finally. I'm paying bills that I had been neglecting, which is good. And I have benefits too. I have insurance, because that was one of the problems with my previous, you know, unemployment stint, because I had my own insurance and I was paying out of pocket, and it sucks because it was expensive, and that was one of the big expenses I needed help with. But now I have benefits and stuff like that. I have vacation time, which I, at this point, should probably start using. But this is becoming more ranty than anything. I'm gonna start to move on from this. But yeah, point is, I have a job right now, and I announced it on Patreon so that people who donated could, you know, make a decision of whether they want to reduce their pledge or whatever. But there was a lot more going on as well, because January was a very, very bad month for me, and it sucked because I really wanted to get back into working, you know, doing content and stuff like that. But I don't think I spoke too much about this. I think I mentioned it, you know, if you follow my Instagram, you definitely know about this. But Some of you guys may know that I had a dog named Harley. He was, I showed him off in videos every once in a while. I wanted to utilize him more, but he was not a very easy subject to work with. I think it was it Hitchcock? I think it was Alfred Hitchcock who said something like, I don't work with animals or children. It was either Hitchcock or Orson Welles. I don't remember who said that. Someone far more talented than I am. But yeah, Harley was kind of difficult to work with. But this past January we had to put him down because he was very sick and it was getting worse for him, and it was very difficult. If you do want to see Harley, there are pictures of him on my Instagram. You can just scroll down and see him. And that was a very, very rough thing that we had to go through. And it got even worse because when we were coming home from the hospital, the animal hospital we went to, you ever know that you ever know that thing that happens when something bad happens to you, and then you turn on the radio and the worst song ever comes on? That's usually associated with like breakups, but it can really apply to anything. Yeah, it was Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" when we were driving home, and that was pretty rough. And as if things couldn't get any worse, something else happened about a day afterwards. And I'm not going to say what it is, because if the past couple of years of social media have taught me anything, it's keep your personal life off the internet. And that's something I'm going to have to do right now. So I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but I will say that it was something that I feel like deep down I knew was going to happen. It just happened at the worst possible time. Literally a day after I had to put my dog of... How old was he? He was like 13. It was 12 or 13. Then again, it was just a cacophony of awfulness that happened. So that's basically what I've been dealing with for the past couple of months. Things have gotten better now, but the year was off to a very rough start. I was working a brand new job in a brand new field, doing stuff far out of my comfort zone, having to deal with that, having to transition to a full-time job, which I was not used to. We had to put my dog down, and then the other thing happened, which again I will not talk about. So yeah, this is why my upload schedule and my work schedule may have been pretty bad. This is why Cartoon Clip Show episode 101 did not come out until many, many months into the year, which sucked because it was a Patreon pledge. And if in case you don't know, if you donate a certain amount to my Patreon, you get to make a request for Cartoon Clip Show. And I had two, which I've already done, and I have another one that I am currently working on. But I hated the fact that I had to wait so long to, get that out, especially considering somebody paid me to do that. And just in general, I haven't really been able to work on things like Rob, even stuff like Rob Watches. I haven't really been interested in a lot of stuff that's come out, so I kind of just did, anything that I personally thought was interesting. So I didn't do like every single new thing that came out, because I decided that if I don't have more than 6 minutes of things to say about something, I'm not really gonna dedicate a Rob Watches to it, because there's really no point in me just putting out a very short video for something. But yeah, that's basically what's been going on, and it sucks too, because I feel like at this point I'm definitely very fatigued when it comes to content creation. When I did Cartoon Clip Show number 100, when I did my Thundercats review, and I finished it, it felt like I had crossed the finish line that in a marathon that I've been running for many years. And when I say cross the finish line, it's more like I got to the finish line and I just fell over exhausted over the line, and that's how I beat the race. Because I have been working on Cartoon Clip Show for a very long time, and at that point, especially considering I was also, unemployed right now, I wasn't really in a great state mentally. And but when I finished it, I was also kind of proud and kind of happy that I made 100 episodes. I wanted to do more, and I was actually excited going into the new year to produce more content and actually maybe get noticed for once. And then all the stuff happened, and it completely ruined all of my plans. So that's basically what's been going on lately. And I'm kind of relieved I can finally get a lot of this off my chest. That, what's been slowing me down and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that about covers that part of what I've been trying to talk about. I am, again, a little bit relieved now that I can get this off my chest, but yeah, that's what's been going on with me. I haven't been able to do a whole lot lately, mostly because of working full-time and just general fatigue. And unfortunately, I had to sacrifice a lot from this channel to, I had a bunch of, video series going on. I had Rob Tries Anime, and I wanted to do more of that, but I don't think really people were that interested. Plus, I had web series Spotlight, which I might be willing to pick up at some point, but yeah, it didn't really go over, even though the confinement episode got a lot of views because it's confinement and everybody loves confinement. But yeah, I don't know if I'll return to those for now. I want the main focus to be Cartoon Clip Show, because that's been my baby for many, many years, and I want to do more episodes of that. So I want to keep content to a more casual flow around here, and I think it'll help in general with with my channel, because I did notice that when I was doing a weekly upload schedule, I wasn't really receiving that many subscribers, which is very strange, because I've always been taught to keep things consistent, do a weekly video, release something on the same day every week or something like that, and it just wasn't working. And my subscriber count was stagnated, and it took me a while to reach 5,000 subscribers, or 6,000 subscribers. It took me a while to reach 5,000 as well, but yeah, I don't get it. But I found out that when I release stuff a little bit less, that's when I saw the numbers go up a little bit, which is strange. Like you think that would be very counterproductive, but that's what's happening, so that's what I'm going to stick to, at least for now. So, yeah, I am working on the next Cartoon Clip Show, which is a Patreon request, which I will get to. I'm kind of hoping, as much as I do want the Patreon funding, I'm kind of hoping it's the last one for a while, because there's other stuff I definitely want to get to this year. That being said, let's talk about Patreon for a second. So, many people donated to my Patreon because they wanted to help, and it did help me out a lot. But now that I have a good income and I have benefits, and a lot of my finances aren't really a problem anymore, I don't really need the Patreon money for personal stuff anymore, which is a good thing. I will, however, still need to draw from it every now and then, because I occasionally need to buy stuff for the show. Recently I purchased a DVD set for something that maybe for an upcoming review, if all things go well. I've also been considering getting a new camera, because this camera, I've had it for a while, and my last camera lasted about 4 years, I think, before it just completely died. And I think it's approaching about 4 years for this camera, so I'm a little worried that it's gonna die on me at a very inconvenient moment. So I might be looking into getting a new camera sometime, hopefully by the end of the year. So the Patreon money will definitely help with that. However, because I don't necessarily need the Patreon stuff for, personal stuff, as I said before, I still have it. And I have actually been stockpiling it because for those of you who are currently patrons, and for those of you who are considering being patrons, I want to let you know where your money is going to. Because with that extra income, I might want to fund a project. Something that has been long overdue for me as a creator. Now, I don't necessarily know what that project is just yet, because I have a lot of things that I have been working on. For example, I wrote a pilot for an animated series, or at least an animated pilot. Making it a series right now is even more ambitious than I can handle at the moment, but a pilot would be very nice. I wrote a script most of last year for just a little something I came up with, and I'd like to maybe get that produced. I won't really say too much about what it is, but I will give kind of a little bit of a hint, because it was something heavily inspired by Toy Story. And when Toy Story 4 came out, when the plot of Toy Story 4 was made apparent, I got very worried because I was worried that the concept I was going for my story was going to be covered in Toy Story 4, and I would have to end up scrapping the whole thing. And considering the amount of work I put into that pilot, I didn't want to do that. It was something that I had worked very hard on, and it's something that meant a lot to me. Thankfully, when I went to go see Toy Story, I think a lot of my fears were put to rest, because the angle I'm going for with this is a lot different than what Toy Story has been, and even what it is. I think it's pretty obvious. It's going to be about talking toy characters, specifically action figures. Not necessarily, there are other characters in it that are, different things, but they're mostly action figures. I'm basically trying to combine my love of animation and my love of toy collecting. So that's what that is. Again, I won't say too much more about that. I will need to, however, hire some artists, or at least one really good artist, because originally what I had this for was I had a concept. I had like a little Bible that I wrote up, and I had written a pilot, and I also commissioned an artist a while ago to draw me up some characters based on the concepts I came up with. And, I sent them a description, some rough sketches and reference images and everything, and I had them come up with some illustrations of the main 6 characters of the the story I came up with. They're not perfect designs. I think they look great. Pretty much what I was looking for was produced, but they're not really finalized designs. I just basically wanted something to use as a reference image or put into a pitch document, or pitch presentation, had I had the opportunity to do so. And they're good designs, but they definitely need some improvement, and I need some other characters designed as well. So the way I'm thinking about tackling this, and again, I'm not ready for it just yet, although perhaps soon, because I don't want too much time to pass and maybe some other studio takes my idea that I'm working with. I doubt that, but here's how I'm thinking about going about doing this. I'm gonna need an artist, and if anybody knows any really good artists out there, send them my way. Have them contact me, uh, I'm gonna need an artist to maybe improve the designs a bit, design the other characters that are in the pilot, and make some character sheets, some character models for me, some finalized like good designs for these characters. Then what I'll probably do after that is I really like storyboarding. When I was in school, we had a storyboarding class, and I really like that. And it's great because I'm not very, I don't draw very well, and you don't really need to be a great artist to be a storyboard artist. You just have to, know how to set up scenes and do rough ideas and things like that. Not to knock on any storyboard artists, but, sometimes you don't really need to go overboard with that. I think famously it was The Legend of Korra that revealed that their storyboards are nothing but stick figures, and the characters in the show, they're very realistic looking human characters. So really, you just need to know how to set up a scene. So I'm not a very good artist, but if I have something to work off of, I can, copy. So I would like to maybe get some artwork done of my characters, finalized designs, and then I will personally storyboard what I have, because I have, how it's supposed to go in my head. And after that, probably have to do do some voice talent searches. I could provide a couple of voices myself. I've been meaning to get into voice acting, just never had the time to do it. Been meaning to put out a demo reel and stuff. I think this will be a good opportunity. So I'll probably have to get some voice actors together to read the lines and record the lines. I got a friend who might be interested in that. I do need some female characters voiced, so the one thing at a time. So after that, I'll get maybe talk to a composer, see if we can get something composed, and then eventually I'll have to hire at least one really good animator to put the whole thing together, and that is basically my plan. That is my pipe dream right now. And this is where the Patreon money is going to go to. Now, I could crowdsource this. I could go to Kickstarter or Indiegogo, one of those. But I don't really trust those nowadays. There's too much of a stigma with that kind of thing. And the worst possible thing I want to come out of this is, I produce something and it's not really what people want, or people are disappointed, or perhaps I can't deliver things on time and things like that. And I really don't want to go down that route, because I've seen a lot of crowdfunding projects do that, and I've been a victim of that myself with several things that I've donated to. But I'd rather fund this myself. I wanna do this myself, and I know it's gonna be very difficult, but it's the only thing I'm very comfortable with. So if anybody wants to, pitch in and donate, feel free to do so at your leisure. Again, Patreon, and I have a PayPal tip jar below. I'm going to put aside all the money I get from that, and I'm going to use it to fund this project. Now, animation is a very tedious, difficult, expensive, and very long-term thing to get into. So I don't know if maybe that'll be the thing I do. I do have other projects that I've been working on. I have a lot of incomplete ideas, but I also have another, this is like a big, my dream project, the thing that means the most to me. I had envisioned it as an animated series. However, I don't think that is feasible at this point. But it's basically a big sci-fi adventure series that I'm currently outlining, and I have to refine some of the characters for it. But when I get around to doing that, my original plan was to maybe novelize it, but I don't know if I have the time or patience to create a novel. So I was thinking maybe do the graphic novel route for it, because I really want it to be visual, and in a perfect world I would have this as an animated series, but I don't think that's possible right now. But I am putting this one on hold, and more than likely the toy thing is going to be the main thing, because they say you don't do your dream project first. You do something you like, but not entirely behind. But not to say that I'm not behind it, but yeah, that's that's more than likely what's going to happen. The other one is probably still going to be on the back burner. There's still work to be done with that. I also have, other ideas that are incomplete, and I've been just kind of tossing around. In short, I'm looking for an artist, someone who's really good and can, get my visions on paper that I'm having trouble with myself. So, yeah, when I decide to do this, I will, make a big announcement about it. But and hopefully I'll be able to do that really soon, because I don't want too much time to pass, and a lot of my schedule right now is a bit erratic. So I need to get a little organized and dedicate time to different things. So yeah, but for now, feel free to contact me if you yourself or someone who's a really good character designer. I will be paying you, so that will be that's some good incentive. I definitely, people who work on something that I'm directing and writing, I definitely want them to get paid, and hopefully I won't break the bank doing it. I think that's why I'll be trying to take the blunt of the work myself. But yeah, so is there anything else that I want to talk about? Let's see. I talked about all the crap I went through. I talked about Cartoon Clip Show. I am working on the next Cartoon Clip Show. I'm watching the thing that was requested of me. So hopefully that'll get done soon. Because honestly, with this one, I don't think I'll have to go into too much long-winded explanation for it. It's pretty straightforward. As far as Rob watches go, I'll try to do some. I know Infinity Train just premiered, so I'll probably do one on that when a couple more episodes come out. Talked about the big projects. Talked about Patreon. Yeah, I think that's about it. And this probably went on for a lot longer than I wanted it to, but again, if you're looking to support a project I'm working on, feel free to check out my Patreon and PayPal tip jar. And again, if there are any artists watching, if anyone's still watching after this, feel free to contact me about maybe doing some artwork. Send me your rates. Show me some stuff you've done. I'm probably going to be looking for something very specific. So if I turn you down, I'm sorry. I have a very specific thing that I'm looking for. So but you never know. Maybe I'll contact you for something else in the future. Also, while we're at it, there actually is one more thing I want to talk about. If you're not a character designer or whatever, or if you're just an artist, you want to do some stuff for me, I have been looking into maybe doing some new channel art, like maybe for the banners for my various channels, for my icon, which the Cartoon Clip Show character that was drawn for me by my former title card artist Laura, which has served me well for many years. But I think it's about time for a change. Maybe do something a little bit different. If anybody out there wants to pitch in with the channel in general, feel free to let me know. I'm looking for some maybe do some better thumbnails. Maybe do better header for the channel. Maybe draw me a new character to use for Cartoon Clip Show or stuff like that. And for the other channels as well. If anybody has any feedback or creative input they'd like to give me, feel free to do so. Because I definitely want to continue to push this channel as well as my other channels. as far as I can go. So again, if you're interested in any of that, contact me. I'm not hard to get a hold of. And with that, I think I'm about done. I think that's about it. I think I got everything that I needed to say out. Again, we will do a Q&A if I reach 7,000 subscribers, so feel free to help out with that as well if you want to ask me questions, and we'll hopefully get to that next time. But yeah, I believe that'll do it for now. It is very late, and I have work tomorrow, and I'm, again, working a full-time job, so I have to do that. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Again, contact me if you're interested in maybe doing a little bit of work. And keep supporting me in any way you can. And I guess I'll see you guys later.